You do have an obnoxiously loud vape.
You always make it a bit worse and then you consistently end up in the same place.
Hello and welcome to the not special episode. This one's not a special one.
Sure.
This is Boys Gone Wild, episode 46, maybe 47. I've
You're
lost
fucking
count.
nailing it, man. You are nailing it.
Less feral than last week, for sure. But it's more of a kind of Stockholm syndrome level of buzzing anxiety, where it's more like, I don't remember life before, so this doesn't seem too bad because I can't compare it to anything. I've only ever existed in this space. But no, I am doing better. I'm, making stuff. There's still a rabid element to me where my body constantly feels like it should be doing something, but it's unclear what that thing is. How are you, Andrew?
I'm doing okay.
Yeah?
I was just going to... You always have this feeling, I feel, in general. So this isn't... I think it just intensifies for you during lockdown.
I forgot what life was like before, so I can't even remember. Apparently I did, according to you, but I don't remember.
So it's been a clean sweep,
yeah,
basically,
so
since
emotionally,
2 weeks ago.
It's been an emotional wipe. I remember events and stuff, but
You
I
seem
don't
a lot
remember.
more...
I don't remember the feelings that I had. I don't remember who I was, like my soul or essence. But I do remember, like, I went to that uni. I've been to that pub before.
So just like the elevator pitch of your life.
Yeah.
You remember that much.
The elevator pitch.
Elevator.
Yeah. What if it was like pitching a film of my life?
Yeah. Well, maybe not the film.
Yeah.
Just the key parts.
What would the pitch be though? For
your pitch.
What pitch for me to exist?
Yeah, so it'd be like I was born a 13-stone baby, and the doctor, when I came out, said that I was a monster.
That's interesting. When I was born, I weighed not 13 stone. Jesus Christ!
Did I say stone?
Yeah. So there was some mothers watching this. As many. Hey mums, a lot of mums from the Isle of Jersey. Big support from the.
You seeing that on the
Jersey.
YouTube breakdown?
Yeah. That's a very weird niche. Who listen to the podcast. But when you said that, the mothers spat out their own breast milk that they drink still. Even though your kid's 18, you still drink your own breast milk. It's disgusting.
They class their vaginas with the fear of the 13.
A 13-stone baby. I don't
clad
know.
with moustache.
How many
already.
stone do you weigh?
I don't know.
No idea.
I do.
Take a gambit now. Just literally.
Let's
take
say 12.
You think you weigh 12 stone?
Have we got any scales here?
No, we don't. But how many kg do you think you weigh?
Whatever 13 stone is in kg. Maybe not a lot.
Take a punt of kg, because I have no idea about weight.
68 or 72.
Okay, that's pretty good, because I would say I'm like 72. I'd say about 72.
Okay.
How much does Wayne Rooney weigh?
Is that your classic barometer of how to compare weight?
Well, let's just see how much he weighs. He weighs 83 kg.
He's going to weigh more
bulky.
than us.
He's a stocky.
He's
little,
a porky fat.
Yeah,
boy.
but he's a little sausage and beans, porky little fat boy. But we're skinny little bean pods, but we are tall.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, you're quite light actually, but I'm surprisingly heavy. I'm actually
right.
Yeah, because you've picked me up before.
I have. You are surprisingly heavy. Yeah.
But
then I feel like you tense whenever someone picks you up because you're uncomfortable.
Whereas you just start like stroking.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. You should do this more often.
Snake hips.
Yeah.
No, we were talking about. Yeah, when I was born, I weighed 12 pounds, which is an absurd amount. And the baby who was delivered before me weighed.
Do you guys still keep in touch?
No, it went off the boil since I got famous. He hasn't dealt with it well. The baby before me weighed 4 pounds. 4 pounds, this tiny baby. So when I came out of my mother's stomach, cesarean, you can't squeeze a 11-pound baby out. Well, not my mum. I'm sure you could back in the day, back in barns and stuff before they had that
mum
stuff.
would probably die.
But now in this snowflake generation, they won't squeeze
bloody
anything
cesarean.
out.
They're cutting anything open nowadays. Welcome to the good old days.
Remember real women?
We used to squeeze babies out of your vaginas. Now look at us.
Yeah.
Having epidurals like...
Epidural's the numbing thing.
Epidural's like candy.
And the first words I heard were, "It's a monster." Well, I think I was probably not really
Not conscious
I
of
wasn't
it.
lucid, but those were the
But
first
technically,
words.
with the first,
technically
that you had
the first words.
Yeah, that you had the potential to hear.
And then when
What do you reckon your last words would be?
It's a great question. Can I finish this anecdote before just piling on? Like, that's a 45-minute question.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then I was put in those sort of cot things. When you're born, you get put into a room with loads of other babies. And then my sister thought it was like you pick the baby
which
you
one.
want. So she picked like a 4-pound, apparently beautiful black baby, like literally the opposite of me, this gorgeous black baby. And I did not fit in the cots they'd laid out, even though they must have great ample room for, because I wasn't even like a fat baby really. I was long.
You're not fat.
I was quite long. Well, I was chunky.
Yeah, you gotta be chunky.
But I wasn't like one of those like
those
a real hefty.
posters.
I was quite like long and like floppy.
Yeah.
And I also had red hair, so it was quite like it was quite a sight. Apparently my nostrils have stayed the same size throughout my whole life.
And the snub of your nose is also
There's always stayed, yeah. So
yeah, I haven't seen it change.
So that's been a consistent part of my life for sure. But anyway, yeah. So what do you think my last words will be?
Your last words. If you're a monster, it's a monster.
See ya.
Here, 100.
Like, see ya. As I jump into the flames to save someone.
Maybe like, wow, it's an angel. You know, like having it flip it around, so your whole life is a redemptive factor.
Redemptive factor.
What you've got to do is go from people's first impression, the world's first impression of you, which was a red-haired, ugly rat boy, to long live the king. The king is dead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if there was an interesting biopic, of either of our
Gerard
lives,
Butler
to play you, Owen Wilson to play me, but if there was biopics,
and then they get together in a buddy comedy.
Okay, so it's both of our lives in one film, but I'm talking like
2 separate films and a separate buddy comedy.
A spin-off
to
make more money because of the success of the first one.
Because of the very high lack of interest in our lives.
There's a biopic of your life, but it's one of those ones that's like, they don't really do them as much anymore, but like they tell a story of someone's life from start to finish.
Yeah.
The Notebook sort of did that in a love story where it's like, starts at the beginning, ends with the. What do you think would have to happen for your narrative for it to be a good arc from where you are now? Because you're still very in the film of your life where it ends with you dying in the hospital. What would have to happen to create an interesting arc from where you are now?
Well, I'm going to have some sort of heavy crisis.
There's going to have to be a crisis.
There's going to have to be a heavy crisis.
Yeah.
I think maybe like quit everything, move to a different country, just become a roamer. Because I kind of like the idea of being a nomad in some ways, wandering from town to town, with no shoes on and a walking stick. That's just like a large wooden stick. Okay. Just learning things from different villages and then just taking it all in.
Is that the big close?
No,
just a slow montage of you learning.
But then after 5 years, I realise after going from town to town and learning different philosophies and different ways of life that I actually just want the money. So then you
flip it.
Exactly. Then I move to the city, become an investment banker, make stacks, do loads of drugs.
And have like a Scarface style ending.
Exactly.
Where like the greed of money will kill you. Yeah, that's interesting. Would
you like to also give yours?
I think mine will be. I think mine would probably be. I'll be similar. I'll be very principled. Maybe do up the principles I have now, whatever they are.
Yeah.
And then I have I'm stubborn. Don't ever change until I have kids, and then I become obsessed with my kids and making my kids do whatever I never achieved.
Right.
And then it becomes clear that I can't deal with their success. And it's like a thing of I just can't let it go because I want them to succeed, but it reflects my own failures.
How about is it The Place Between the Pines?
I'm still Owen Wilson, by the way.
Okay, yeah, cool. Is it
doing a British accent, which he just doesn't have the range to do, which is the sad
Those
thing.
are the best British accents, though. Is it Place Beyond the Pines with Ryan Gosling?
Mm-hmm.
So you know where...
I haven't seen it, but go on.
Okay, but you have Ryan Gosling's like the main character, spoiler. Then he dies, and like halfway through the film, and then the main character then becomes what's his face? Yeah, Owen Wilson. Okay. But you could have it I was thinking like a flip like that,
and then to your son,
who then also fails.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting. Intergenerational.
So it's not like you just didn't have the opportunity or the means or the talent. No, it's like you didn't have any of those.
I didn't have the heart nor the gumption.
Yeah, and nor does your kid. So you didn't make it yourself, nor do you have a legacy. The Gould name is tarnished forever. And
So it's got sort of like an Inside Llewyn Davis sort of sad, failed. Yeah. You know,
it's got Bob Dylan vibes.
Yeah, it's got like a thing as like any normal film there'd be an uplifting ending, but the point is that some stories don't have a happy ending. So that's for you guys here at home. But you wanted to talk to me about personal ads you've been getting, because I started sending you personalized ads because I was convinced I had the most mental personalized ad, but you've seemed to have blown me out the water. I got advertised NOS canisters, which, for those of you who don't know, it's nitrous oxide, often used for like whipped cream chargers, but if you put them in a cracker and then put them in a balloon and suck them, then for about 2 minutes you have an incredibly high feeling. In Australia they're called nangs. The Tame Impala have a song called Nangs, which is about the feeling of being high on balloons, and I got sponsored that as an ad, and I was like, wow, that's crazy that I'm actually getting sponsored ads for drugs. Isn't this mental?
I think you should do anti-drug commercials for kids, because you just make them sound so uncool. So NOS is like this, it's like a balloon, but it makes you feel pretty good, gang. It's pretty neat.
Pretty swell drug.
Yeah, NOS targeted ads. It's a kids game out there.
Yeah,
I've been getting some obscene ones, as in consistently obscene every day, and it's from the same company, but it just seems to get more and more ridiculous. And the fact that, especially us all being aware of the personalized nature of algorithms of ads on Facebook as well.
We've all seen The Social Dilemma. Like, we've all seen that mind-blowing documentary that completely changed the way I look.
Before. But obviously these are ads that are personalized to me in order the most likely things I'm meant to I should be purchasing. So why am I being shown this? So we'll put it up there, I guess. So all that is, I guess, like, it must be a sex
to the audio listeners as well.
Oh yeah, so it's this tracksuit, but it's entirely translucent, virgin or transparent. It seems to be both. It's waterproof. It's also got a pink twinge to it, and I guess it's on a mannequin actually, yeah. So you can't see any penis, but that is not for outdoor wear. That's for sex wear.
Okay, because
it could be outdoor wear.
It's sort of using the practical aesthetic for the impracticalities of sex play, which is interesting. It's using the kind of faux waterproof.
Well, how much liquid do they think
vibe
there is?
What, to cover your whole body?
Yeah.
Well, it's clearly like a hot thing that you'd be covered in water, and then you'd be able to see cock and balls slightly.
Slightly. So once it gets wet is when it gets when it comes into his eye.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, imagine if you have a girl around and there's suddenly walking in that. You ready? You ready to do this?
It looks like you're going to kill her.
It looks like American Psycho. Yeah,
it
does.
Yeah, that's
Huey
really
Lewis in the news and just dance around. So that's just one. The next one.
Remember all of the conversations we've been having about how hyper aware sponsored ads are. They know you better than they know yourselves. It's like,
which is a terrifying
part. There's so much money put into it. It's one of the most sophisticated softwares out there. Is personalized ads. It's what drives the internet.
Especially with the point of they know you better than you know yourself. It's really, every time I've seen these ads, I'm like, do I want this?
Yeah,
I guess I do.
The amount of money being put into this is unreal.
So this one is like a toenail clamp. Now haven't yet ascertained the point of what this toenail clamp is. I have had complaints from ex-girlfriends that I don't cut my toenails off.
You have repulsive toenails for sure.
They're not great, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but you're a slapdash kind of guy.
Yeah, you get what you get.
Your body, you know.
So that's there. Genuine. That is probably the most practically applicable.
That sort of makes sense.
So then, what about this? So I think this is a rubber hat. Now, I've been trying to work it out whether someone actually, whether one puts their hand into the rubber hand or whether it's literally just something you put your cock in.
What, fuck a hand?
Yeah, I think so.
Who would want to fuck the
inside
of a hand?
But then if we zoom in...
So it's sort of like a big rubber hand that's got the fleshiness of a sex toy.
Yeah, but then if we zoom in, he seems to be performing a magic trick.
It's a fake magic hand.
I think it's a fake magic hand.
It's a fake magic.
But it's so sexual. Do you know what I mean? So even though there's one thing, maybe you should get into magic. But you could also use it for wanking.
You could also fuck it. I like the idea of getting this wanking hand instead of fucking it.
Now, this is actually my personal favourite because I have not the foggiest what is going on here. So for the people that can't see, it's like if you imagine like a quilt jacket. But then imagine
It looks like an iron lung.
Yeah, exactly. Imagine a quilt jacket, but then imagine a tent, and there's a zipper, and there's like a small lady sitting in there. She's got holes that her hands can come out of. There's a head hole, and she's on her phone. But then attached to that is like a machine that's pumping something into it. I can't attest to what that is, but apparently I should be buying it.
I've no idea what.
Next one's more simple. Cock rings.
that makes a bit more sense.
Yep. All different shapes and colours.
And cock rings, you pop them on your knob and they start vibrating to.
Yeah, they don't necessarily even have to start. These ones won't vibrate.
Well, it's not aesthetic though, is it?
No, if you put a cock ring on, you can get more pleasure during sex. Don't ask me why.
No, I won't.
Cool.
Great.
If you had to choose one, which would you choose?
I'd choose the multicoloured one.
No. That is the only wrong answer there.
Okay.
Why would you choose the multicolour one?
Because I might as well. I've got a ring on my cock. I might as well go all out.
So you can't take yourself seriously for wearing a cock ring?
Yes.
You've got some issues to work out.
Yeah, probably. You're the one who's got advertised.
I'll walk
the
in proudly with
vape,
all of them on.
Vape rubber hand and cock rings.
Then this is another quite simple one. She's a hoodie with Pornhub on it.
Wait, what's the price?
$6.
$6.
It's not bad.
For any $6 for a hoodie.
Yeah.
That's ridiculously cheap.
Well, again, I haven't clicked on them, so I don't know how true it is. But that just says Pornhub. Then this one is a latex suit with for a woman where there's zippers for where her vagina is.
Okay, yeah.
So there's a diagram that we can get up. There's circles in on where the zipper actually is, and it points to the zipper. It says, this is where you can undo it. So that's that. We're coming to the end now. And these are the last two that I've got.
Yeah.
These are new today. And it seems to be a new trend of what I'm receiving. So this is the first one. It's essentially, I showed you this earlier. It's essentially boxes, but with a extended part of the material for your penis to be in.
Wait, so
now these aren't like sexy boxes. They're like normal cotton boxes that you wear around the house on a normal day.
yeah.
But they've got a space for your dick. Now, and a hell of a lot of space for your balls, actually. A hell of a lot of space for your balls. It's pretty astonishing.
What is so? Because you'd understand if it was some weird, disturbed, fetishy sort of thing, but it does look like someone who's got just two, like giant balls and a massive cock.
Ginormous.
Who can't fit it in his Marks and Sparks underwear and needs custom
but then,
built.
ironically, the material that they're providing for the penis isn't big at all.
Yeah.
So you haven't. It's not. I don't really know what target market they're going for.
Yeah, because it'd probably be easy to just fold your cock in as opposed to sticking it out.
As everyone does. There is no need for this product. And you can see there's a diagram there that explains that the dimensions. There's this, like, it's almost mapping out the circumference of how far the penis goes from the main boxes. And then finally, so this is the sexier version of that.
What?
Yeah.
Is that a chainsaw?
No, it's underwear.
So how does
Your cock goes. Your erect penis goes in there.
Thin though.
Thin. It's like lace.
Okay.
Or like,
well, that makes sense. That's
or mesh. It's like mesh.
That's some sexy stuff.
So yeah, so that is if you want to. So that's if you want to impress impress a lady with your erect penis.
Yeah.
But you still want to be wearing underwear. Now I guess it's the equivalent of lingerie.
Well, it's quite powerful because it feels. I certainly feel like I certainly feel like we're having a good conversation about navigating the male gaze, so it's like women are less passive and more active in that. But I think it would be nice if we could sort of move to a place where men could be objectified a bit more. Because I don't think sexually objectifying another person we should cut that all out, because I think that just represses human natural temptations. Yeah. We just need to do it so they're not purely a passive object, and we do it respectfully.
Well, both. You should separate sex from society. Whoa. And the government should issue one of those pieces of underwear to every male across the land.
Yeah, but then what I like about male lingerie is kind of like, I hope it's something that comes up more, because men don't really get the option to be sexy, to be honest.
Speak for yourself.
Well, they don't get like.
No, it's true.
I'm
joking.
It's not encouraged for men,
and because I've had conversations with women about this. Yeah, holla. And there is obviously there's an inequality in it, but then it's also like, what the fuck do you want me to buy, and what do you want me to wear?
Yeah, can you guys start mapping out what, because a lot of female sexuality has been laid out by male desire. We will happily, you know, whatever you girls want, but we're always saying that they're like, in a way that it's like...
Just a nice pair of socks.
The way that people dress or like use sexual signifiers is all based on who they're trying to attract. So that's why gay men have a certain aesthetic. Lesbians.
That's why you go out wearing flip-flops,
well,
because you love tropical women.
I love tropical chicas, no matter where they come from. As long as it's hot and sweaty and the food is spicy, please come and look at it. I've got a pair of Havanas on. They're chafing my feet, so if we could get this, we could wrap this up with a, you know. But I've always found it interesting about how, you know, because with straight men, we're like the slobbiest of all of the groups. I know it's also a very big group, so you can't, you know, generalize. But in general, which I think reflects worse on straight women. I think of all of the things, it's like you often reflect the desire of who you're trying to attract. And then why you see straight men who dress like utter shit with unbelievably gorgeous women. A lot of the time, yes, it's the patriarchy, I know, but a lot of the time it's because women have bad taste. Straight women
have bad taste in men. Well, I know I have seen several of the couples that you're referring to, of like the man who's still wearing the Abercrombie and Fitch ripped t-shirts and like fat chinos.
Just doesn't give a fuck.
And black trainers.
Just doesn't care. Like fat.
And got this like very trousers. Attractive lady with him.
And he doesn't care.
I never get more angry, to be honest.
Yeah, and he's always looked.
He's always got slightly long too hair.
And he's also too long hair. Always treats the more attractive woman with the same sort of indifference he treats his fashion.
Yeah.
I guess she's attractive. Like, no, does not a care in the world.
Yeah. Well, what does that say about him? About her?
Well, what that says is that he's someone who's, because of the privilege society gives straight men, he's given a free.
He doesn't need to give a fuck.
He doesn't need to give a fuck,
because
which is what straight women always talk about what they like as well. It's encouraging straight men, like.
But because I can bring it back to the toenails.
Yeah, you go on.
Because
that's a straight man thing.
It is. It's a massive straight man thing, because that was a source of frustration in my previous relationship.
Yeah.
Of, you know, I do all these things to look nice. And you can't even cut your fucking toenails.
Yeah.
And 100%. And then we'd had that conversation, and I'll hold my hands up. I still didn't cut them.
Yeah, for sure. Because also, if you did, you would be slightly less attracted to her. For sure.
They love. Yes.
If you started grooming loads, it would be like, okay. And I've noticed this with women all the time. They kind of they always talk about men as like, oh, he looks like he works outside, and like he doesn't look like he cares.
Yeah,
like, you don't want to look like you don't. As straight men, to attract straight women, it doesn't seem like
you don't want to look like you come just out of the spa.
Oh, you doesn't look like that you've like spent ages. Oh, my zipper's been undone the whole time.
Because nice.
Yeah.
No man. No one would have noticed, other than the fact you draw attention to it.
Yeah. Oops.
But because oh crikey, what was it? What were we saying?
No, it was about my zipper, I think.
No, it was. I'm just so distracted by the.
No, we're talking about straight men. Talking about.
My previous girlfriend as well was like, she becomes instantly less attractive to someone if they're wearing matching socks.
Okay, that's pretty fucking mental.
She's pretty fucking mental. But that is the same sentiment of, because she was like, she can't imagine like a guy going into his sock drawer and then picking out two socks and like contently putting them on his feet and being like, yeah, this looks good.
Yeah, because that's not hot. It's
not hot.
Well, women want like a man who's like, fuck it, I don't care. I'll put one sock on and fucking put the other on my massive cock.
Yeah, just like
keep it warm in the winter nights. And then what I also find is that certainly over the last 30, 40 years, gay men have been very well represented in general society, and like I feel like in the general cultural consciousness we know a fair bit relative to other minority groups about gay men. They, you know, a lot of comedians, a lot of TV shows, like there's stuff to grab onto where I feel like I have a lot of gay friends. I have a relative understanding of some of the ways gay society works, you know?
Do you want to keep that sentence going any longer?
No.
Or do you think you preface it?
But lesbians are... I want much more representation for lesbians, because I feel... Genuinely, I feel curious and interested, because I don't really have many lesbian friends. I have maybe one lesbian friend who I like...
I've got half a lesbian friend.
Though bi doesn't count.
No, she's not bi. She's just not really my friend.
Because with lesbians, it's interesting the sexual signifiers they seem to use. And by the way, I know I'm talking out my ass. And if we have any lesbian listeners, I'd love to start a dialogue. But from the outside, it certainly seems like the signifiers are. I heard Kate McKinnon, who's the woman on SNL.
SNL,
yeah. Her talking about how basically lesbian passenger is like it's a whole different world that straight men just have no understanding of.
Yeah, absolutely.
The whole way that like, you'd have it sort of works in some ways like straight couples in some way.
Yeah, a bit.
You'll see one who
like Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi. Do you know?
Yeah. But Ellen DeGeneres is still. She has like a more masculine look, but it's still very well manicured and stylish.
Yeah.
But you'll see like lesbians with like tattoos and like Hollister hoodies and like dressing like.
Because it's a broad spectrum, and what a wonderful.
Yeah, I'm not bloody saying that,
Crikey,
but
here we go again.
I just find it interesting what it's. I don't, because it's not represented enough or talked about enough. I don't fully understand the dynamics of the signifier. Like,
so we need more lesbian representation, so you know what the fuck's happening.
Yeah, so I can
Let's
understand
do that.
But also, like, I feel like don't you feel like you have like I understand a bit of like the gay sexual signifiers. Like I'm sort of getting what I sort of feel like I have an idea of how.
Yeah.
You know, like no, I'm not saying I have an idea, but I'm saying like I'm genuinely a very kind of like like cleanliness is a huge part of
hygiene
is a big thing.
Yeah, I guess cleanliness is
yeah.
What's like
and then just being well put together. You know, queer eye for a straight guy. I'm not here to pigeonhole, but it is that does sum up. You have like a slobby straight guy, and then 4 beautiful gay guys will sort him out. Yeah, and like it's not unsexy to be well dressed and put together. Like
absolutely not. But then there is also room for the more rugged and the less well groomed within the gay culture as well.
For sure.
But it does seem to be, from what I've seen from culture as well, that seems to be the prevailing identity.
And it's also like even gay rugged guys. It's like they'll have a beard, but it'll be a well trimmed beard. Do you know what I mean? It'll be like a sort of like the lumberjack sort of thing will be like a kind of like Hollywood lumberjack. It won't be genuine, like it won't like genuinely have bits of meat stuck in the beard. You know, like a straight,
like we do.
It's like a straight man lumberjack.
Sausage beard.
So hopefully, I know there's a lot of lesbians who listen to BB's podcast, and I know there hasn't been a huge amount of dissemination of as much as I'd liked from those fans over to this side. But if there are any lesbians listening to this show, please message in. It'd be great to start a dialogue. I think there just needs to be more representation. You know, I'll put my hands up and say it, you know?
So these ads must dictate that I am some sort of addict of various sexually depraved things online.
Do you think that the ads are being... The ridiculousness of the ads is to start conversations like this?
Yeah, I think I think they've realised I do a podcast.
Yeah.
They've said, how are we going to get more awareness about, you know, homosexuality and the culture therein
we need 2 straight white guys to
do it. We need 2 straight white guys to do it. So they targeted me. That's why they've been giving me all these strange things to purchase.
Yeah.
And I've only purchased 6 of them.
Oh, yeah, only 6
Only 6. So the job hasn't really been done.
They need to fulfill the...
They need to keep going on.
But it's probably from your sexual deviancy.
No, but that doesn't really pervade online that much.
No?
Well, does it?
Or does it happen in your head? Are you a big... You watch a lot of pornographic
I don't
films?
watch a lot of porn.
No?
I think probably more than average, but...
I'd say average is pretty high.
Well, maybe not then. Yeah. Maybe average. But I don't know. I've got a very... I don't know how to describe it.
Go on.
I'm
like a weirdly shaped penis. It
hooks round to the right and the left at the same time.
It splays out like a bouquet of flowers.
Yeah. But I have a low-key sex addiction, kind of jam. I've got every addiction under the sun, essentially. Sure. But that doesn't necessarily translate into porn.
No.
Because I think I realised quite early on, I was like, this is fucking me up. This is weird.
Yeah.
And it's going to ruin, my big thing is it's going to ruin actual sex.
Yeah. So you're like an addict. You're like a fat dude who's like, oh, I could eat this now, but I'm going to have a big meal later.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like, why had the French fries when you can have the burger 20 minutes later?
Exactly. Okay.
Because it's clearly a terrifying thing, I think, for anyone. A very incredibly unhealthy thing for anyone to watch for a multiplicity of reasons. Obviously, the you know, the difficult, terrible conditions that I'm sure a lot of the women are going through within the porn industry who are, you know,
that's bad.
The actors, that's bad.
But more importantly,
for me, what's really matters here is what I think.
Okay, cool. But go on.
But back to the main. But we get that happens. But so I think it's nothing new that's been said, to be fair. Other than just, I shouldn't preface it with that.
Go on.
Let me start again.
No, that's fine.
No, I'm not going to start again. But it's more so the way in which it alters your mind, alters your brain. Because one, it's like, so when you're watching, when people, probably guys and girls, I can't speak for the women as much, are watching porn, I feel like a lot of it. Do you masturbate whilst looking for a video, looking through different videos?
No, I'm not scrolling and masturbating at the same time.
So do you find one? Do you settle on one? That's my question. Because I don't think people do.
But it says a lot. I definitely think, I do agree. I've heard some people talk about this. It does say a lot about you as a person, how long you spend looking for videos. Because there are some people.
It depends.
You know, we have a friend who's relatively asexual, who's at 100%. I asked him because I already knew, and I was right. He's like a first, like whatever's featured.
Of course, he fucking is. I know what you're talking about.
That completely is a type of person who's like, and I think it's just
content.
It completely describes so many aspects of your life. If you go on the main page of porn and look at the first 5 videos without even scrolling,
what a beautiful lady,
that'll do, and then just get it done as easy as possible.
Yeah,
I probably am a midpoint. I'm not certainly one who just keeps going deeper and deeper because I can't. You know, I'm trying to get in and out as quick as possible. I'm not there to last.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Which,
as in, I take 100 shots before I find the perfect net. Nothing but net.
I don't think that's the saying.
No,
that completely doesn't work.
No, I just thought I wanted to say a saying.
Yeah,
that's the only one I've been saying in the last week.
Okay.
But
completely irrelevant.
No, so when I was watching a lot of porn,
it
was that. It was like, you know, you'd start. I'd probably start before it even got on the website, and then all right.
Really? So you're just in the Google search?
Safe space.
It is there's no kink shaming here.
Yeah, so it became like the different colours in Google started to turn me on.
Whatever the new thing.
Yeah. There was that thing in Don John that the sound of the Mac turns on.
Really?
Yeah.
I bet there's other. Did you actually have anything like that? Or was that
No. I never got that deep into it. This was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
But so you start. Yeah, so then it just goes, and then what you find is, one, because when you're masturbating yourself,
wanking off,
playing cards with one hand on the table, choking the turkey. Obviously your hand is, you're in control of your hand, and your pleasure is within you. So you know exactly what to do, exactly when to do it.
Yeah, I know how to treat myself well.
I know, buddy.
I know. I know how to take myself.
Physical health.
It is. It's important we start this dialogue. You know.
So like when you're doing, but then so there's that aspect of it, which is different. But obviously worse than having a companion. Yeah. But the actual specific feeling is better, right? As in, like, so if it was just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it was like, so anyway, you've got that aspect of it, the physiological one. But then when you're trolling through so many videos online, and you're finding that perfect thing, that very specific thing. If you hear a lot of like porn addicts talk, they'll say that they get really aggressively into this one type, and they can only come when they're watching 6'4" girl.
Oh, really?
6'4" girl in a cheerleader outfit.
So they have like a really specific need. It's not like a smorgasbord.
It gets more intense and intense.
And you have to keep chasing. You're chasing more, and that's how it gets darker and darker.
And it's fake.
Yeah.
And it's a fake thing that you're experiencing.
Yeah.
And it's nonsense. So it's a very dangerous thing.
Yeah, because
I pretty much cut it out.
Jeffrey Dahmer, in one of his like candid tapes when he was in prison, talking about he's a serial killer. He's the one where everyone's like, he's so hot. He's not hot. All right, he's for a serial killer, he's good looking.
Yeah, but that adds an edge.
It adds an edge, but everyone's like, and he was gorgeous. No, if he was a normal guy, you wouldn't say he was gorgeous. It's just compared to what you think of a serial killer.
Yeah,
like it's like I'd be a hot serial killer, like easy. Like it's not a hard pack to deal with.
Yeah, okay.
But he said that he does a lot of research on serial killers to try and understand why he's a serial killer himself, and he says the one thing that God, dude, just fucking enjoy it, like. Yeah, and he said the one connecting factor he noticed across all serial killers was an addiction to porn.
Oh.
Which he says like is where
really?
all of those, like, it's like where all of that stuff like starts.
Yeah.
It starts with porn, gets darker and darker, and that's. I mean, I'm not saying if you are addicted to porn, you're a serial killer, but
it
sort
helps.
of. Yeah. I sort of am.
Yeah. But well, a lot of because a definition of a serial killer, someone that kills multiple things, multiple victims, is a lot of it. A lot of them you do find have some sort of sexual aspect to them.
Sure, yeah.
Because like one, you kill one guy, you might have had a feud over, I don't know, a dog.
Sure.
You kill two. Why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Two still, there might have been another guy with a dog, different dog. The third guy, you're like,
well, it depends on the context. Because if it's constantly feuding, then
then sure. Yeah. But like, I think serial killer is almost like premeditated.
Yeah.
Semi-random,
but
then not random. Yeah. And then you think, because I think the strongest desire in all people is sex.
Okay.
So that's like almost like a mutated version of that. So like it is. So us as our base human drives are when we're cavemen running around the savannah or whatever.
Yeah.
Food and sex.
Yeah.
We've got food.
Okay.
Sex is now the thing.
So you think it's quite a Freudian look at it all?
Absolutely.
This is the fun. Okay.
A little bit. I think that drives us in so many ways. I think, as in, like, if I was to say one thing that drives us the most, all of us, is sex.
Yeah, but what about asexual people or like people who are less sexual?
I was just thinking of asexual people as I said it.
But like, I don't think asexual. There's not enough asexual people that it will be like I don't think it's been, but
it can be the exception.
But people who are less sexual is really common.
But it doesn't necessarily mean less sexual, because like, so if you think, because sex, I would think of as so our friend who we were talking about,
Who's asexual,
the one wank one video man.
Yeah.
He hasn't got the highest sex drive.
Sure.
But so what I think about in terms of like making yourself attractive as well. He's a well-groomed man. He cares a lot about his clothing.
Yeah.
So just because you don't have that sex drive there doesn't mean the sex impulse isn't something that's driving you.
Okay, but that's also relaying like looking nice and like dressing well to purely be about sex.
Which I think it is. It's about attraction. Why else would you care?
So let's create a fake society where sex doesn't drive anyone. You sign up somewhere bureaucratically to have a child, and that's how reproduction happens.
Yeah.
What do we look like?
We look like everyone's hair is hitting the floor. No one's ever had a haircut. Barbers don't exist. Millions are out of a job.
Well, right, there must be a practical element.
I guess we might tie it up. Toenails maybe coming out of our ears.
No, I'll tell you what, because it wouldn't be
nose hair, ear hair.
Yeah,
ear hair. What's the fucking point?
They're all coming out. Yeah, they're fine. They're coming out. But I think
we'd be having this podcast drenched in hair. That's what it'd be.
Because I think the hair thing, it's not going to be to the point where you're going to be tripping over your own hair and be like, well, I don't care about sex.
Well, I don't want to have sex with women.
I'll tell you what it will be. It'll be even worse than that. Because at least with like hair down to the ground, it's like that's a choice. What it will be is like, oh, my hair's a bit too long. You'd get two big scissors and you just cut here. So every time it gets low, you just cut here. It'd be like
everyone would have the same haircut, just of different lengths.
It'd just be like slightly, wherever you can be asked to doing it. It's just
middle
partings
or afros. They'd be the same. It'll be the same.
And then what you're wearing, it just literally anything that's warm, just purely.
Nothing.
Maybe.
Yeah, because with a lack of shame about your own body, that shame in that way is coming from sex.
This is what Adam and Eve is all about.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
It's all about fucking sex. The Bible is about sex.
It's all about
penis and vagina action.
Knobs and fannies and that.
That is because, like, if you think about bathrooms, if you go to a gym, which I've been told about this,
we're not gym guys,
but I've seen it from films.
I've seen it on telly, and sometimes I drive past. Sometimes on the bus, I'll go past a Virgin Active.
Do you really? Your head kind of looks.
Yeah, and you're like, wow, that's a whole world I've not involved.
But so the cliche of that is, when you're sitting down in the change room and you get a dick in your face.
Yeah.
But that's so. If we think about the whole principle of splitting up male and females in a change room environment,
that won't be there.
Well, of course it won't be there, but I'm saying that's where it comes from.
Interesting.
Clothes come from sex.
Yeah, okay.
And so we would be wearing nothing because of the existence of clothes.
Practical stuff.
In this world, it's not cold. You don't need it.
No, let's not throw in.
You're not cold.
We're underwater, but we can breathe. Like let's keep it. Let's keep it just about the sex thing. You'd be wearing smogs and hair.
Okay, so there, I think
You still
we go
wear-
back to
You'd wear
togas.
smalls. Yeah.
we go back to togas.
Togas are sexualized.
Yeah, no, unisex togas. No, togas are now retrospectively sexualized, but they're the most like classic. What do we need to put something over our body? A piece of fabric.
Okay, so it's long, it's bowl cuts and
Yeah,
togas.
zero
so,
effort.
Yeah.
Zero distinction between sexes. Nothing meant to be sexy about it. All it is material to put over your naked body.
Yeah.
So we'd be walking around with long hair, togas, long toenails, any kind of nasal hair or ear hair.
Just all coming out.
All coming out. And we'd all hate each other.
So you think sex drives are what? Well, sex drives are what drives. I think we'd be indifferent to each other, actually.
Well, maybe we could be more together because a lot of competition is sexual competition.
Yeah, I definitely think gender would be less of an issue for sure.
Well, no, yeah, absolutely. There would be no distinction between gender without
Absolutely.
sex. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, I've been trying to encourage, and this is sort of a something that I would encourage you guys to actually get involved in. It's I don't know. It's sort of a game. It's sort of like an experiment type thing. How you win the game is instead of saying absolutely, you say abso-fruitly, but the more serious the scenario, the better it is.
The more
so
points you
I've
get.
started like trying to say abso-fruitly in quite serious conversations and to see what happens. But it's now starting to come an issue.
Because it's one of those things where it's odd,
Yeah.
but it's not something that someone would necessarily pick up on and say something to you.
Yeah.
I nearly said it when I was on the phone to the police. That's what I was saying. Yeah. Which was absolutely. That's no problem. We'll get that information over to you.
Because it's really subtle. So the way you'd win the game is if you'd like, I don't know, if you found out about a member of your family dying or something, and like,
Did he mean a lot to you?
Absolutely. So if you guys, anyone listening, if you guys could
Voice record,
or no, or
fuck,
just
that'll be amazing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, voice record would be amazing, but also just comment in and tell the story of where you managed to get an absolutely in.
But if you voice record, you can have a free Patreon membership.
Oh yeah, we'll do that.
We'll discuss it after.
But yeah, I'm trying to set that up as a game. I want to try and get that into the vernacular of like a group of people who are just constantly trying to slip in absolutely. Because would you get called up on it?
I don't think you would.
I don't think you would.
I think in no situation would you.
I can't imagine.
Because it's just in normal vocabulary enough, but it's on the most ridiculous end possible. That someone wouldn't be like, "What did you just say?"
Yeah, in court, if you're like absolutely.
I think no one would. I think there'll be a. And then they continue.
So it's like I'm a lawyer. You're in the
I'm
thing.
in the dock.
So you work in construction.
I do, yes.
Oh,
I thought because it'll be better.
I thought the whole point was that. That was the bit.
It'll be fun if we do a couple and then go in and then I say.
No, because I was thinking you say absolutely to every single one.
I think you've got to be more subtle and slip in one.
Okay.
So like,
all right. So you work as a construction.
I do. Yes,
worker,
I work in construction.
You work at the local London docks.
Yes, at the local docks.
Okay,
just down the road.
there.
Yeah.
And you were working on the evening of Thursday, the 14th of November.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is great.
So on the topic of sex, right?
Yeah.
So this week I've had quite a few discussions about pedophilia.
Yeah.
It seems to have come up. It comes up in waves, honestly.
Yeah. We talk about pedos quite a lot.
We spoke about it on our old student radio.
Yeah, we spoke on our old student radio. It certainly comes up a lot, yeah. So what are you talking
So
about?
I think to let's say, because I think we agree, don't we, pretty much? Mm-hmm. Maybe not. I won't suggest that before you've heard what I've say. But there is a lot of, well, obviously pedophilia is presented as, the worst thing in the world. Which absolutely I do not. Absolutely. There you go. Absolutely I do not deny. So let's take it for the instance of, so there was like the only example I can think of, there was a guy who was an actor in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Who was, very funny guy.
Yeah,
and
hilarious. It
man.
broke my heart
Yeah,
when
it really
I found out
did,
he was
me
a
too.
nonce. He was a bacon nonce.
So they found him with loads of child
He was
pornography.
so funny.
They found
Always, also, with child pornography, whenever paedophiles get caught with child pornography, whenever it's a politician or any form of celebrity, it's always, and he was caught with 78,000 copies of child pornography downloaded onto a hard drive.
Always in a basement.
It's always on a hard drive. There's always so much child porn. It's always ridiculous.
Because if you're gonna dip in for like one child video, one child pornography video, you're gonna get like 10,000 when you're there. You're not gonna go and get one.
You don't want to keep going back to that.
You want to be like, oh my god, I'm in. Yeah. I'm gonna get all of it.
Because you no one ever gets caught with like a couple of images of child porn.
No, because it's not worth it. It's a risk reward payoff.
20,000 copies or like 9 terabytes worth of like,
which makes it sound so much worse, doesn't it?
Always, every politician who's ever caught with it.
It's a simple
pro-con. Thousands and thousands, so much memory. The amount of memory like 9 terabytes is of it is just
at least like 4 different hard drives, which is horrible. It's really horrible to think about. But so the guy, in the thick of it, he was caught with child pornography. What I would say?
Should I find his name?
Chris.
Just so people know.
Yeah,
who you're talking about.
Yeah, you do that while I continue. But you can't multitask though, can you?
I can.
Okay, but the thing is, and I'll choose my words carefully, is that absolutely paedophilia is the worst thing. Chris Langham is the worst thing in existence if it's acted upon. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Obviously, the people who are acted upon their paedophilic natures need to be, locked up for the safety of children. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Paedophilia, though, is in itself not immoral. Yeah. The desire for it. So if you think about any kind of sexual desire that we all have, if me and you have straight sexual desires, or we've got 1 or 2 kinks in the back locker,
which aren't noncing, by the way.
No, they're not noncing.
This is not. Yeah, this is not.
That's
not what we're setting up.
Like a maid outfit. What can I say?
Yeah.
But so we don't choose where that comes from, and a lot of it's a tough one to link it with. But the whole conversation about homosexuality, the big thing is it's not a choice.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely fair. Of course, it's not a choice.
Yeah.
So but then it's obviously
I guess the difference is if homosexuality was a choice, it'd still be fine.
Exactly.
That's what.
No, exactly. But it's more just the logic of each of these arguments. Because so forget about homosexuality, but for everyone's little kinks there, or whether they're straight or gay or whatever, we don't have a choice in those things.
Yeah.
So when you think about paedophilia, there isn't a choice in that. And why would someone choose to be the most demonized person in a society?
They wouldn't.
Absolutely wouldn't. So the point is, we've had this discussion with things like child sex dolls.
Yeah, that's a really interesting one.
Because there's a debate. To be honest, I think it's only us that's having this debate.
Yeah, it's not like it's not a huge. There's not huge volumes of discourse that we're just adding to.
No,
we're sort of pioneers in the child sex doll debate.
We are, but stuff like
we'll come out. Boys Gone Wild. If you sell child sex dolls, we'll advertise.
But these are the reasons why.
Squarespace ads, but instead it would be like, are you a paedophile?
Do you have the urge to fuck children? With that, because the reason why we might be legitimately, advertising, is because I think we'd be a much better society if we accept the fact that people who are suffering from this mental illness is what it should kind of be classed as. Do not have a choice in the feelings that they are feeling. Imagine if you were imagine all of your normal sexual desires, they weren't that. They were that you wanted to have sex with kids.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that paedophiles need loads of compassion, obviously not, but a bit more.
Okay, yeah.
A bit more. I'm separating those that act on it versus those don't act on it. But so things like so when someone gets caught with child pornography, it's obviously terrible. With 10 gigabytes. It's obviously terrible because obviously the existence of child pornography is an abhorrent thing. It should be crushed down however possible. So owning it should be a crime. Absolutely, it should be. But they should be differentiated from people that act on it. Because imagine if... this is really words of going on to this topic. But if we orientated our justice system and our way of viewing things into a bit more of a compassionate way, that would actually allow us to have a better conversation about it. Because then what we want for people who have these feelings is to come out and say, I'm having these feelings.
I don't think that's going to happen.
I know, but not, what we can do if we keep on like making it like not normalize it, but like not decriminalize.
No, this is where I
but
disagree.
Because they need to be able to seek. They've been able to seek help.
They will. But
because if people don't seek help for their mental illnesses, then it gets fucking worse, and that's when you get people acting upon it, which is the thing we want to avoid.
No matter how progressive the society gets, even if we have like clinics where it's treated, it will never be like, I'm a paedophile. I don't act on it, and everyone's like, "That's chill." This is my mate. He's a paedophile, by the way. He doesn't act on it. Like that's not working its way in. That's not. Though it should.
I think it should.
Yeah. I mean, hypothetically, it should. But also, how comfortable would you be like being mates with a pedo who doesn't act on it? Like genuinely.
Well, maybe not.
So like,
I think
like you'd want to.
Yeah, but it depends how like if they're
how much
seeking
of a sound
help.
G he is as
yeah,
well.
Depends if he's got like good crack.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
but
then I guess in this, especially in this industry, you'd be just constantly being like, yeah, but what if he acts on it and then I'm mates with a pedo? Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'd always have that sort of fear.
Yeah, but it's more about if like we have to be thinking in terms of this.
Yeah, but it'd be awkward as well. Like introduce if you like have kids.
You don't have to introduce it straight away. Like being open with it isn't saying.
Yeah, but I'm
straight
just saying
away.
like if he's my pedo mate and like he's openly a pedo, it would just be even if he's like, I know it's awful. I'd never act on it. I'm seeking help. I'm doing all of the things to do it. This is just something that I can't believe I've.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd back him. I'd be friends with him.
I'd back with him, but
100%.
it would be a little bit tense when
at Christmas dinner.
When the kids are there, because it's like it just would be. There'd be a couple.
You're thinking of fucking them, aren't you? You're thinking of fucking them.
It'd be
dirty
weird.
Boy.
It'd be weird.
It would, and I get that, but that's also. Because that's when there needs to be an element of trust in it.
Yeah.
Because I think that would get a lot. You know, if someone is able to come out and say these things that they're feeling, that will as I've said, better access to help for it, and then that means they're gonna be able to participate better in society. And part of someone, because it's very rare that paedophiles are going to get really great help, and also so many paedophiles are people that were abused as kids themselves. So it's this horrible perpetuating cycle that we need to try and help people get out of rather than demonize and see them as scum of the earth, which obviously they are when they act on it. But it's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
Because there's a bit of compassion, maybe.
I think to support your argument, it's like there was a story of a paedophile who, when he got this brain tumor, like cancer to the brain, when it started growing, he started having paedophilic thoughts, and when it started retracting, so when he stopped getting them,
like
so
chemo
literally, and like he got chemo, got better, but then the cancer came back, and when the cancer started growing, it started pushing parts of his brain, and he started having paedophilic thoughts. How mad is that?
That's insane.
That's almost like.
But it shows also how, like, lack of choice or whatever, however these things come from.
But then what's interesting is, does that mean that there's loads and loads more paedophiles than we could have ever imagined?
Absolutely. Fuck. Shit.
Sorry. That was
perfect.
It was a setup for a perfect.
That was
perfect. So there must be loads of them, because it's. Would it be built into that sexual desire that you would also be a monster to try and get it? Do you know what I mean?
You would be a monster to try and get it.
Yeah, because most paedophiles, it's like if.
But why would you ever try and get it?
If being straight was prohibited, as it's 2020, it's fucking hard being straight.
We can't walk out the street without being told we're white men.
That straight parade where they got Brad Pitt as their, they said Brad Pitt was going to be like that, was their role model, and like was using him, and he like said,
because
like,
all of the men in that movement are so much like Brad Pitt. Exactly. They all see themselves in him.
But if that was prohibited in the way that paedophilia is conceptually, would I still act on it? I don't think it would be enough of a desire that I would go past barriers of consensual sex and like things that
which is acting on. But so do you not think, if we're being absolutely honest with ourselves here, if you were a paedophile,
if I was a pedo,
would you not seek out child pornography?
See, that's different. I probably would.
That's the thing.
I'd probably watch
because
we're
talking about
when people act on it.
Yeah, that, again, because the acting on it, there's no question. That's not what this conversation is about.
Because the thing is, I also eat meat, and I also there's a lot of stuff that isn't ethically sourced, and because I think I can get away.
If you eat meat, you're a paedophile.
But you know what I mean? I guess
simple.
Because to me that would seem shocking. But if I was attracted to that kind of stuff, maybe it wouldn't be so.
Yeah. Well, no, it wouldn't be so. But again, like, because to go to your point of that's why I asked about the pornography. Because I think, as I say, acting on it, absolutely not. You know, there's never any context that it would be deemed acceptable in any way whatsoever.
Yeah.
There's no debate there. The debate is like how much leeway you give people to express that. But I remember one of your arguments actually when we were talking about it on the studio radio, which I think was a good one, was that if we say child sex dolls are fine, it's not going to stop. It's like the porn thing we were talking about is when you get one thing and it gets a bit more and you want more. Can you ever fully? Which I think is a very fair one.
Yeah, because the sex dolls are like, you could ethically source them. You could use like
ethically sourced sex dolls.
Yeah, because you'd use sustainable materials. It would be like made hemp and stuff, and like
it's a product that 2020 needs, isn't it?
You'd have to like really, as if you were a company producing child sex dolls, you'd have to really. Go into like sustainable fabrics and stuff like that. You'd have to really counterbalance.
You've got to show your brand pretty clearly.
So it's ethically sourced, but it's just the act is so abhorrent.
Yeah.
That as a society, I guess practically you could argue in a sort of utilitarian sense that by allowing these repressed feelings to be expressed in an ethical way, like those drug clinics where you can go have heroin.
Methadone.
Use clean needles. Like in Switzerland, you can use genuine heroin, clean needles.
Okay.
And like less people die in Switzerland because of it. I guess you could have like a centre like that.
Yeah.
But I also,
what's in that centre?
I just think loads of child sex.
Yeah, but can't you just give them to them at home?
Or like,
why do you need to come to a centre to have sex with a child sex doll?
Animated child porn.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm starting to change. No, I don't know. I don't think it would be good for society. I'm starting to change my, even during this conversation, I think, because when we had this conversation, we were younger men for sure, but now I'm more hardened, I'm more retribution. I say hang all the fuckers, they're scum, they're pigs. My point is that it doesn't. Like conceptually, you've justified it, so it's fair enough. You can't help being a paedophile. Should we find ethical ways for them to express this repressed desire? I think if you do find yourself as a paedophile, you've got to suck it up.
Yeah,
I think
which a lot of people are doing by not acting on it.
I think sure, and that's great.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree that if you are a paedophile and don't act on it whatsoever, never watch child porn, never do anything like that, then in many ways, sexually, you're more admirable than me. You know, and that's saying something. That's saying
this is the most admirable sex guy in the UK, not the world, but the UK.
I'm not. Not the maybe Europe.
Europe,
top five.
He's in contention. He's in the running for it.
But in the UK, for sure, it's a country full of deviants, though.
Yeah, true.
But I do.
You're not actually even the most admirable in this house, to be honest.
No.
You're the second.
Yeah.
No, you're the third. Yeah, you're the third. Anyway.
Yeah, I am the third.
Yeah, the third, yeah.
Yeah, because we're in a house with a guy who's asexual and a guy who's a Muslim, who's. Anyway,
you don't choose your housemates. Should we? Sorry, do you want to
wrap it up? But I just think it would not be a good look.
Whereas I think a society based on a bit more compassion, tolerance might actually be able to build a better future.
No sex dolls or child porn, I think, but we should have a better understanding of people who. But yeah,
okay.
Also, like Britain, it is interesting that a lot of paedophiles, like not hebophiles, which is over 12, like genuine paedophiles. Hebophiles means when they've hit puberty but they're still underage.
Right, okay.
And that's like,
so it's more the number.
Like Chris D'Elia, his allegations, a lot of the times it's like, it's not necessarily to do with a genuine attraction to young, it's more taking advantage of someone in a vulnerable situation.
Just cunts then.
Cunts but it's a different urge to paedophile.
Okay.
Because then there's
still it there.
Then there's people who it's genuinely that's the attraction. But, the percentage of people who are paedophiles is majoritarily white. It's a very white thing. Yeah, and like the worst paedophile for numbers recently was a 30-year-old British dude who looks like quite a lot like us. He went to like a Russell Group uni. He's from like the home counties. Like it's weird. Like he genuinely looks like a 30-year-old version of people we went to school with, our friends.
What, white people?
Middle class home counties people. And he went over to Malaysia, and that's where he did all of his noncing. and they were not prepared for it because it just doesn't happen in the
What,
same
Malaysia?
way. The Malaysia weren't prepared for it because it was like they were literally like it just doesn't. It doesn't
happen.
Britain are really bad for pedos. Like we have it in like.
Why is that?
And what it's like, it seems like why, and then
this misplaced sense of power.
Okay, so what were the questions? Are you as much of a cuck in real life as your on-stage persona suggests? Okay, well that's rude. I think that's aimed at me.
Call out the username.
Well, that's Red Richardson 1, who is another comedian, and I feel he's trying to do like an old school ribbing type thing. I don't appreciate that because I think I'm actually quite alpha. I'm
Cuck
more,
and proud.
No, yeah, well, I know I'm more of a cuck off stage. To
You're
be honest,
definitely a cuck.
Yeah. Thoughts on the boob butt debate and its past relation to personality character. Young Limbs. On another day, we would have discussed this, but we have just had a huge sex episode, so maybe
depends
not
on
next
the day.
episode, but maybe when it comes back to our monthly kind of sex special, we might do a boobs and butt special.
Okay, so
we can do a boobs and butt special.
Yeah, no, we can't. I refuse to be part of a podcast that has a boobs and butt special episode. Sorry. It's a grey line. It's a quitting factor.
I think also Young Limbs just wants us to talk about sex, and he's got his fill today. But maybe he wanted more like laddie chat about boobs and bum, and not like talking about how to treat paedophiles in society and the psychology of paedophiles.
Sorry to disappoint. Boobs, butt. What about limbs?
His name's Young Limbs.
Yeah, exactly. That was the joke.
That was the joke.
Not a great one.
Not
a great one
really.
at all.
We weren't. It's not firing all cinemas.
Not really.
Would you? This was from K Hunter 96. Would you keep doing comedy if you knew you would never get any bigger than right now? That is a good question.
How can we get bigger than we are right now?
Yeah, because it's almost like ideally I'd like less people subscribe to the Patreon.
Yeah. Less messages, less harassment.
I don't. The inflow of the amount of cash I'm getting from the Patreon at the moment is actually going to my head a bit. So it'd be nice to like take that down as a way of limiting myself.
Is there any point in us doing these questions if all we're going to do is read them out?
No, I'm going to answer it.
Okay.
I was about to answer it. Would you keep doing comedy if you knew you would never get any? That's a really good question. I think I would, but I would approach it differently for sure.
I'd be able to sustain yourself as well.
Yeah, I'd be doing it purely hobby and whenever I feel like it. So not much, to be honest, because it's like part of the thrill of doing anything like this is the feeling. You know, another comedian said comedy is just all about the next gig, and it sort of is, and it's just that excitement of where something's leading. And even doing comedy after lockdown when it first came back. I had that first gig where it was a huge rush because it's like, this is amazing, I'm back. And then the second and third gig when it was not clear that anything was coming back, it didn't have the same thing. Even if they were fun gigs, the progression is what makes it good.
Okay.
Pua melon or Pia plum?
Skip.
Okay.
Stupid. Just don't bother coming up with that shit.
Has lockdown... But...
Pia melon. There wasn't even one of the options, was it? Pua plum. Pia melon is the worst you can do, yeah. That's the opposite of the answer.
Pua plum.
Yeah, I'll pia fucking melon. Next question. I don't care. I'm not going to give a real answer because it's not a real question.
It's got me though, to be fair. And this is the last question. I don't really know how it went. Oh yeah, once again, awful from the questions. Has lockdown made even the most charming extroverts terrible at socialising? I think that's a compliment to us as being the most charming of extroverts.
But then also saying we're terrible at socialising.
No, has it? She was wondering. She was like, "Oh, hark ye gods! Has this global pandemic made even you? Have you come down to our levels?"
Is there a tear in your eye?
I'm crying.
Oh my god, that really hit home, didn't it? Yeah. I would say, how the fuck can we judge until we're out of lockdown and we start socialising? Stop
being so fucking boring with these questions.
Yeah, but that's the fucking true answer. How are we meant to answer a question that we haven't? We're still in lockdown.
This is what happened last time when I tried to do questions on Instagram. When I do it, you're like, dumb question, next. Well, actually, just have a bit of fun with it. You know, we riffed around paedophiles. We made that fun. You can fucking these are people who are. We got very small people who actually genuinely support the podcast. That was one of them.
How small are they?
They're tiny.
Like
they're
borrowers.
Really small
they're
people.
like borrowers. Like hobbits.
Yeah, like little dwarf She's a little dwarf lady.
Okay.
And you've thoroughly upset her by not answering her question. What's this? This is the body language. What do you mean? You could easily have a fucking spicy answer like that. You were the one who asked, let's do the Q&A session. If you're going to do it, you fucking change your attitude. All right, I'm ending the episode now. No, I'm ending it now. You don't even get a final word. No, I'm going to take that away from you. You don't even get a final word. Oh. I'm going to have the final word.
No. We're going to stop it.
I'm going to stop it.
We've done this every week.
Every week. It ends here because Andrew's not fucking behaving himself. The final words is Andrew is a paedophile.